What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of for Jujutsu Kaisen Season 3. This is episode, what are we on?
Six.
6. And with me, as always, I have Blue Spade.
Yeah. Okay. So we finally catch up with Megumi and Panda infiltrating the compound. Uh, Hopefully, they're still looking to to get Hakari to assist them in the upcoming. I actually no. I think the culling game is actually already started at this point, which I didn't know.
Oh, yeah, because
Um,
there's like this thing that shows up at the end of the episode, like revealing a new rule that got added to the calling game.
Yeah. So, but yeah, but while Megami and Panda are going through the compound, they're spotted by Karara, um, who ends up warning Hikari, which we saw back at the end of the last episode, which causes Hikari to to go after Yuji. So this is of course under like Megami and Panda's perspective, like trying to convince Karara to join up with them alongside Hikari. Um, okay, so about Kirara in particular, you brought this up before we started recording. I thought
Uh,
Kirara was a girl.
yeah, well, so I think Karara is like kind of supposed to be like one of those, maybe like a trap character or something. I mean, because we had characters like that before. Like if you remember, like Soul Eater, Krona, for instance, but Krona is more like a gender. Like it's never actually revealed what Krona's gender is. But in this case, like Karara, yeah, is a guy. I don't know if maybe this gets brought up later, but I just heard it on the internet, and then of course I did my own research, and yeah, it's a guy. So, and I also noticed in this episode that they refuse to specifically use any sort of like gender pronouns in reference to Kurara. They always say they whenever they refer to Kurara and not he.
I've been curious about that. It's
Yeah, I noticed that too.
now I
Like,
know.
because after I learned
Now
that, I kind of picked up on like, oh, they're actually not calling him a guy, but uh, which is a little bit more confusing because it's not necessarily that that character doesn't have a gender or anything like that. It's a guy. So I don't really know why they made that decision, but whatever. um,
I mean, unless like they didn't really know that. I don't know. It's like it's
uh,
not really clear if they really knew that or not,
yeah,
based on the translations. But yeah, they decided to just call Kirara they for what in its translations for whatever
yeah.
reason. Um. So yeah. So Megami and Panda are like are forced to fight Kirara, and Kirara uses like a special kind of curse technique, almost similar like if they were using a magnet, which like that uses attract or repulse sort of thing.
Yeah.
And it takes Megami a while to figure this out, and he finds out that Kirara is using like a Southern Cross curse technique, which is like almost like some kind of a constellation type of like of ability, which they see like these different like names or words of like the different constellations on themselves and different parts of like of the environment
It
that Kirara used.
it also attaches itself to like different curse techniques, I guess, so that it can repel or attract the curse technique.
Yeah. So Kirara, like actually no, Megami eventually deduces the technique's function because in order for them to get to Kirara, they have to like to go in a specific order of what where the constellation goes from, like they have to go this one and then go that one. If they fail it, then like they get repulsed or they get attracted to like one other constellation unintentionally, so they have to like redo the whole constellation stuff again, and then in order to get to Kirara.
Yeah, and basically like the whole fight, I guess like Megumi's trying to deduce where like the source, I guess, of the constellation, and like what thing in the environment had been marked, I guess, as the source for it.
Hmm.
And he eventually ends up finding it. And he basically like in order to get to get Kurara to stop Kurara, he uses the I forget what the curse technique he has is. Like at first he uses like these bunny rabbits to try to attack her with, or him, like yeah, him to attack Kurara. But of course that doesn't end up working. And then he uses his hound. Like he
I think he's like his wolf.
the wolf,
Beast
yeah. Like
technique.
he puts the wolf, like he hides the wolf so that he can bring it out later and then use it to take Kurara by surprise.
Yeah, and of course they eventually like take down Kerara and end up like convincing him now to join up with them, and that's when Hikari and Yuji start bursting into the scene in which um, Yuji he doesn't fight Hikari. He just basically just intentionally just takes
He
several unguarded
he pretty much just
ones.
like pulls a Thorfinn from Vinland Saga where he just lets himself get the crap beaten out of him to try to convince to basically like try to convince Hikari to join them.
Yeah, and like he takes it gets to the point where Hikari thinks that he manages to take Yuji down, but then Yuji just keeps coming back up to the point where Hikari eventually relents and
And
decides
then
to
Yuji just has this whole speech about how he's just like a cog in a machine.
yeah in Jujutsu Society to in exercising curses. Uh, so this the whole thing pretty much convinces Hikari to assist them. Uh, but then they get interrupted by this weird familiar that just shows up out of nowhere, announcing that one of the sorcerers involved in the culling games, who recently got 5 points, added a new rule to the culling game, which is allowing all other players to view each other's statuses.
Yeah. Well, I guess apparently you can just add rules to the calling game, like even after it started. I did-
Yeah, I well, I mean that's gonna create a whole mess of things, to be honest.
yeah.
But it's just if like the whole culling game rule wasn't already too convoluted and messed up as it is
Yeah.
already, because now we already had to deal with that whole thing with them putting a whole wall of text of how the whole culling game works, and then they keep adding more text. This is what I don't like about this season in particular, is because they keep you know all this exposition is just making the whole culling game thing like a little more
Yeah.
confusing.
I don't think
Confusing than it
anybody's
needs
gonna
to
remember
be.
all these rules that they've extensively like gone over in that last episode.
Yeah, I, I mean, I do like the animation quality is still a plus for me. It's just the
Yeah.
fact that their attempt to do exposition on the culling game is just a huge mess, to be honest. I don't know how you know how they went about even trying to make all these different rules out
I
of
almost
nowhere. I
feel
mean, they
like
could
they
just
should have brought up the rules like maybe like as they were participating in the calling game, like as it happened or something. The rules should have come up that way instead of just like each rule being told to us like one after another. Uh,
yeah, it's just I don't know what Gege was thinking, even trying to come up with the whole culling game idea. I mean, it sounds interesting, but it's just you're trying to dump all this information on us as we're supposed to really understand. I mean, I know about. I mean, the more simple things is I know about how the whole points things works now. It's you have to go around killing people, this and this and that. But now
yeah.
you're adding all these other rules, which don't.
Like
I don't
it
know if they
essentially
really
just sounds
lined
like a
up with.
death, like one of the death games.
Yeah, it's just that's all it should be. But I don't know what's all these different other rules that you're just throwing at us for little to no reason,
Mhm.
other than for someone's convenience. But it's just it's just too much information for us to for anyone to really process of what's going on in comparison to just what's happening right in front of us.
Yeah, like people remember more about like what is actually like what happens in terms of like if there is something that happens in a fight or however else that information is conveyed, like people are going to remember more about that than just like literally like one, one rule after another being regurgitated, back to them about how the culling game works. It's just not as effective. And I think most people are probably going to forget, all the rules that were just gone over.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought it was a pretty decent episode regardless, though. I mean, like you mentioned, like, the animation in this episode was also just really, the best part about it. I mean, the fight scene was interesting. I thought the explanation as to how Kirara's technique worked was pretty unique in terms of like just what it could do. Like and how it was just based on a constellation. Like that was pretty crazy, and how it kind of has almost this like magnetism effect. But yeah, I mean, pretty good episode though, regardless. I'm just, it seems like these episodes almost are more so just setting up the culling game as opposed to like just going right into it though. I mean, I guess it makes sense considering they have to recruit allies first before anything, they do anything else. And, Maki had to deal with the whole thing with the Zanin clan. So yeah, it's more just like, it feels like it's more set up for the culling game. We haven't even really gotten into it yet. Yeah, I wonder if maybe almost by the end of part 1, we'll finally get around to the culling game, because like, yeah, we haven't even gotten to it. So
Yeah. I mean, well, we still need to catch up with some of the other characters too. Like,
yeah, and then there's that other
we still need
character
to
they
catch
introduced
Yuta.
as well, like the failed comedian. Like he kind of got forgotten about. Like I guess he'll come
Yeah,
up
like
again eventually.
yeah. I mean, we only briefly saw him like in one of the ending of the last episodes, but
Yeah.
I mean, they still need. I think we're still going to catch up with with Yuji still, but we still need to catch
Oh,
up with Yuta as well.
and then we should also mention that there is another like new character that pops up at the end of this episode too. Um, I
Yeah, I think it was. I forgot his name. It's just like is I I think I briefly saw the name. It's like it's Hajime.
Yeah,
That's his name. So he's like he says like he's been around for maybe 2 centuries or something like that.
yeah. So
And
obviously
like
he's a big deal.
yeah, and then like he mentions that he wants to fight Sukuna too.
So
So
yeah,
I
probably like
guess
setting up for a pretty big fight with Yuji, I would assume.
yeah. But yeah, it was an all right episode. Like, it pretty much resolves the whole like the Hikari thing, which Yuji Yuji and the others are dealing with, and of course they reunited with Panda too, so that's another plus. So um, now we have to find out what they're going to end up doing next, and whether or not the next episode is going to catch up with Yuta, because I
Yeah.
think they have him doing something else too. I forgot what it was, but yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, guys, that all being said, until next time, we will see you all later.